Now, there are defining moments in many people's lives that force them to change course. But for Pamela Power, it was a wild Mother's Day where she danced like there was no tomorrow, picked up a fight with a stranger and collided with the floor. Now, the Johannesburg scriptwriter and author realized her drinking habits were out of control and it was time to put aside the bottle. Power charts her journey to sobriety in her book, My Year of Not Getting, well, I can't say that word on air, but let's just say something tooth-faced. And she joins us now to discuss it. Pamela, good morning to you. Thank you so much for your time. Quite a bold title to a book here that I can't even mention on national television since I get charged by the BCCSA. But quite an interesting title you have there. I love the book cover. And it further says how I tried and failed to give up alcohol and learned the joys of moderation. Take us through what inspired this book, your personal experience.
Thank you so much for having me, first of all, and I'm sorry about all the mishaps with Zoom. I'm now wandering around the garden trying to make the hardy-dars be quiet. So, yeah, excuse me if there are any hardy-dars or whatever. I was wondering about how we were going to introduce the book on air, and I thought, you know, my year of not getting beep-faced, so I think that gives everybody an idea of what it's about. But, yeah, it was kind of through COVID. I noticed that my drinking had definitely picked up, but I wasn't a sort of an AA level drinker, so I had to find a new way, and that was really through a lot of reading and through discovering the sober curious movement. Yeah.
What made you want to also, include a humorous account of your personal experience? Because oftentimes when we think or discuss alcohol, sobriety, getting help for, alcohol abuse in most instances, it's quite a serious topic. But you also wanted to give a bit of humor as you narrate your story and journey.
I think that's just my family background. If anything terrible happens, unfortunately, we tend to make a joke about it. And in fact, not just my family background, I think that's what we do as South Africans. We try and see the light side of everything. So I kind of try to do that as well, just, charting my journey and also, looking back, examining what role alcohol had played in my life, what role it had played in my families and my extended families, and going back, yeah, and there were a lot of funny moments. What could I say?
It takes a lot of honesty and transparency to say that, Pamela. But also, I get a sense that the theme here in your book, I'm sure amongst others, is moderation. And this is important for me to highlight because we're still, living in a society where there is a lot of alcohol abuse. Young people that do abuse alcohol, finding themselves in taverns and clubs and binging on alcohol, almost glamorize and romanticize alcohol abuse and binging to a point where you pass out. But you're saying there can be a sweet spot here, and that could be moderation.
I think we've got to be very careful, though, when we say, obviously, I could choose that because I'm not physically addicted to alcohol. I was more of a sort of a binge drinker, and it wasn't, all the time. It was just I had noticed that my alcohol intake during COVID, I think it was, when we were told we couldn't drink, then I really wanted to drink.
Yes.
That really irritated me. But then when I saw sort of like the emergency rooms were empty or whatever, it brought it home to me, like what alcohol actually does. And I think also kind of doing my research, I think we've been fed this idea that, alcohol is actually good for our hearts and blah, blah. And apparently it's really, really not. So I see it a bit like sunbathing. It's not bad for you. It's not good for you, but you're going to do it, so put some sunblock on. And alcohol is the same thing. You know it's not fabulous for you, so drink a really exquisite glass of wine and just have one. You don't have to have 2 bottles. So I think we can give the kids a message, as well.
Right. An important message that is. And before I let you go, let's make sure they also get their hands on the book as well. Everyone, that is. I suppose whether you do consume alcohol or not, or perhaps you relate to the story, it would be good to just have this in your, I suppose, your bookshelf and get to, know you a little bit better and get to know the book and read the content. So how can we get a hold of the book? Where can we find it, Pamela?
Well, it will be online, and it'll also be in all good bookshops from next Tuesday. So, yeah, please go ahead and buy it and let me know what you think.
we'll definitely do. Thank you so much. Author Pamela Power, thank you so much for getting us this documentation, because I call it documentation because if you open the book, you'll see that it's more like a dear diary, almost a sense. Pamela documenting different days. A Wednesday, day 52, there's different months of the year, and it's almost like a real-time account of what she was going through at that time. So get, of course, in Pamela's personal diary and get to learn a bit more about her journey and life experience. All our thanks to author Pamela Power.